So you've arrived at this video because you want to know, what is a buyer's agent agreement in real estate? Stay tuned. We'll find out. Gone are the days where you could just jump in a real estate agent's car and see a bunch of houses and make an offer if you like it, or ghost that real estate agent if you never want to see them again. We're talking generational differences, right? Because people my age remember going around in a real estate agent's car. People my kids' age, they go on Zillow and reach out to a real estate agent that way. But even if that's how you've always shopped for real estate, that's changed as well, okay? A year ago, people could go on Zillow, make an appointment to see a house. They meet their real estate agent for the very first time at that house. Maybe they like the real estate agent, maybe they don't. So they see the house, they make an offer, or they don't, and they move on. No one ever thought about hiring a real estate agent in the way you hire a listing agent. A listing agent needs a signed agreement to represent the seller and put the house in the MLS and take all the photos and do all of the marketing. But on the buyer side, they didn't have that equivalent. And really, there's no other business where you could represent someone without an agreement. You make a hotel reservation, you get a confirmation, you buy a theater ticket, you get the ticket. But the real estate broker, the buyer's agent anyway, there was never an agreement on how they would get paid. There was never a discussion on how they would get paid. Buyers would go around with buyer's agents looking at houses and making offers, and no one really knew where the buyer's agent's compensation was coming from. And it was coming from the seller or from the listing agent. And there were a lot of lawsuits about this, and the resolution of the lawsuit, in another video we talked about that commissions were no longer displayed on the MLS. That's really on the seller's side. This video we're talking about on the buyer's side, a new requirement that a buyer must sign an agreement with their agent, with the buyer's agent, before they see any houses. So if you called me up, and before this rule came about, if you called me up and you wanted to see 123 Main Street, I'd go and I'd meet you at the house, I'd show you the house. You like it, you make an offer, you don't like it, maybe we'll see something else, maybe we won't. But now, before I show you any houses, before any agent, no agent in the country can show you a house unless you have that buyer's agent agreement signed first. And the most important thing that needs to be agreed upon in that buyer's agent agreement is how much the buyer's agent will pay, will be compensated from the buyer. Now, the compensation can come from the seller, the listing agent, or the buyer, but the amount of that compensation must be agreed to between the buyer and the buyer's agent in advance. And it has to be a specific dollar amount or a specific percentage. It can't be whatever the seller is paying or whatever the listing agent is offering. You have to have an agreed upon amount, and the buyer's agent can't receive any more than that. If the seller is offering a bonus and it's not agreed to before you see the house in that agreement, the buyer's agent can't collect that bonus. And it can't be 3% of the sales price plus any bonuses. It has to be a very specific number or a very specific percentage. Besides how much compensation the buyer's agent is going to receive from representing the buyer, other key components of a buyer's agent agreement are the length of the contract, how long the contract's going to last. Is it a one-day agreement, a one-week agreement, a one-year agreement? Buyers have to carefully choose which agents they're going to hire. Now that buyer agreements are required, the buyer and the buyer's agent really need to understand what the terms of the agreement are, how much the buyer's agent is going to be compensated, how long the agreement's going to last, what geographic region the contract covers. Is it one house? Is it the entire state? So make sure you read that contract and agree to all the terms before you sign it. But don't be scared of signing it. It is required now. And just like you sign an agreement when you see a lawyer or a doctor, you're going to sign an agreement when you're hiring your buyer's agent. I hope this video helped answer any questions that you had about the buyer's agent agreement. And if you've seen any wacky or weird things in a buyer's agent agreement or have any fun stories you want to share, feel free to put them in the comments below.